computer. Isaac's got that. His logo, the
Wapple.
the Wapple. There we go.
Wapple. I love it. That's great. I love that so much.
So we'll share the screen that's on the wall and kind of get started again. But so all the stuff I just said, and that's a good way to start a recording.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll get done with bash scripting, as its own topic today. That's the gist of what we said so far. And then I think we'll look at Linux services a little bit. We'll look at SSH, which is real easy, might already be installed. But we'll also look at configuration options.
It's easy and it's always installed.
Tell us not always.
I want to throw something at you.
And so after that, we'll look at DNS a little bit.
It's always
try to
DNS.
Understand why it's not so easy to install like your own zone and things like that. We have issues. So DNS, we don't want to look too much at DNS because it's in the competition. This is one where I will sort of teach to the test, although I don't generally do that. I want you to learn things. If I was just teaching to the test, we wouldn't bother with DNS at all, because in the competition, they will supply a DNS server. In the competition, like on IceRink and Ice Age, you can't make remote DNS calls outside of the Ice Age IceRink environment. You have to. It is what it is.
Change that actually. I think I remember sending a DNS request to the proxy. Like I got.
Yeah, you get a response that points at your own IP.
I wasn't sure.
At least that's what I've seen. Instead of getting a failure, you get this response from a with a name that is pointing at your own IP. That's the last thing I saw.
Does that mean we can use google.com instead of localhost for everything?
Sure. And then I thought we'd look at firewall. I think on Ubuntu, the default may be UFW. Uncomplicated firewall. It's so uncomplicated, they built a GUI for it. And I thought it might be good for one of you guys to kind of take the lead on kind of showing how to do the CLI part for that. Because I installed the GUI.
I mean, I don't know. I know I use IP tables, which is what it uses under the hood.
It's we can do that.
IP tables.
It's the only firewall I know. I don't know how to use
UFW. It's called uncomplicated firewall.
IP tables is uncomplicated.
Yeah, none of them are very different. Yeah, I learned IP tables, but I forgot it. I'll probably show the GUI because it makes some things really easy. Like it'll show you your current connections, and you can say, I want to make a firewall rule for that one. It's pretty nice. And one of the strategies, by the way, I don't know if this team needs it at all, but one of the strategies you can do for setting up your environment for the competition is to install the Linux desktop, use all the GUI tools, and then a couple days before the competition, remove the Linux desktop, which gets rid of, and then go and do apt auto remove.
Oh, auto purge.
And it'll get rid of all the dependencies for Linux desktop, and you'll pare your attack surface right back down to what it was. The only problem with that is that after you do that, you have some people who are kind of dependent on Linux desktop, which is no longer there. And so you rely more heavily on the people that are CLI only. But the advantage is if you have people that aren't comfortable with the CLI, they can more easily participate in the setup phase. And it'll just go faster. I mean, unless you have scripts ready ahead of time. Have any of us in the past, made mistakes and struggled with CLI based setup? I'm laughing because we do make mistakes sometimes.
Only because
So that's what I'm thinking for Linux. Then we'll switch to Windows. And I was thinking, well, this would be interesting. I made this up this morning, but it would be interesting after doing services in Linux to do service management right away in Windows, because I really like what happens. Like if we did DHCP last year in Linux and DNS, And then we switched over to Windows and did it. And I think you guys just about busted a gut laughing at how easy it was. Yeah, you open this and you say you want to be a DNS server, and then you click the button, and you have 2 drinks of Coke and you're done.
That's just Windows for you.
Yeah, they've really done a nice job with that. There is a thing called Windows Server Core, which
That's the only thing I use.
Which is there's no real GUI with it. It pops up a PowerShell menu, and you can launch other PowerShell screens. There are some. They did compromise during their design session, so like Notepad is included, and because Notepad is included, they had to include. There was a lot of discussion about this because they wouldn't have had to, but they included the common file dialogues like this one. Hang on, is there a save at the open
Which
file?
can run command prompt.
No, this can't run command prompt.
Oh yeah, try it.
Just type command on the top. Just do
Oh
CMD.
no, yeah, but so anyway, they included this common set of dialogues. Yeah, I suppose it could, but it's only going to run you got PowerShell installed, so it's not.
If you have access to that, then you probably.
Yeah, they didn't want to include this because it makes other things easier, but basically it's a PowerShell shell for Windows. You could probably run Explorer too, but anyway, but it has a greatly reduced attack surface when you install it because it's very bare bones install. And we installed the Active Directory for us that way last year.
Yep.
Which was fun.
Well, so the only thing that I will be using for any of my VMs is literally always just Windows Server 4, because Windows Server has a UI that increases attack surface. But in the competitions, thus far, they haven't yet provided us with a Windows Server Core. They always give you a UI, literally always.
Yes, and they don't let you, so far they haven't let us rebuild the Windows server.
Yeah, which is very annoying.
So they're usually, I think, have we had a competition that anybody in this room's been to where they let us go past 2016 or 2019 maybe for Windows Server? So. We haven't had a Windows Server 2022.
Last year they gave us 2016 or 2012.
2012.
Yeah, I think
supported.
Okay, well, honestly, I think that
I don't
was actually
think they
Windows Server 2012.
2019.
No, well, this year, because the license on their Windows Server 2012 expired, they were forced into giving us 2022. So
that's hilarious.
So now we have Windows Server 2022, but only because their Windows Server 2012 license expired, like literally like 2 days after the final competition.
Nice.
So they were, they were riding on the skin of their teeth.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a high level overview of things I think we'll do. Am I forgetting any? I didn't look back at our notes. Am I forgetting any of the big rocks here? I think I am. That you guys think of what they are.
I don't know. They use Windows and Linux. They will in the international competitions. They use like only Windows. Like they use. I don't think that they even use.
But that was just that one. The next one that you used all sorts of other
yeah.
OSs.
Yeah. Well, actually, last year was the first high school competition that they implemented Active Directory. Every other time they use like they use servers, but they use a lot of Linux servers with no Active Directory. So I would definitely expect Active Directory this year.
Well, my experience is that they mix it up. They don't build one on top of the other.
Exactly.
They come back really different. But we can always use Active Directory with our Linux servers.
It's hard
if we figure out a smoother plan to get there. We've had teams do that way in the way back. Like I don't know, 8 years ago we had teams do that. And so when they tell you to take away somebody's permissions as an anomaly. I remember this one team just like done. Yeah. Okay. Let's
love Active Directory.
Yeah. So now along with this, I wanted to talk about the international competition. And I forgot Dan wasn't going to be here because he's been the real proponent of this. So I just want to surface. This is a consideration I've had in my mind since we've been talking about this. We've done extra CDCs, and I've had some other students, do some in the past. And we've never had one that conflicted with our regular season before. Okay. So this one's in the middle, it's in February. And so I just looked this up. That was after Kaisek was here. I didn't start right away because I was trying to find this. They sent us the invite like in April or something like that. And they gave us the scenario on May 9th, and the competition was on May 22nd. So that's 24 days because it's n minus k plus 1, right? If you start on the first, you're done on the second. 2 minus 1 is 1, but that's 2 days. So that's one of those. That's why off by 1 is a hard computing thing. Anyway,
wasn't the year when they gave us like 1 week?
Yeah, but this is
They were like,
this one involved foreign nations and stuff, so this is just that's what happened last time. So if we,
thank you.
and even last year's CDC, I think we got about 3 weeks.
The international or the
No, the one we did last year, the high school. That's what
high school. That one they gave us, that was by far, I think, like an impressively long amount of time what they usually give us. We actually like had time to make things like look pretty on top of what look pretty,
I would say the one the year before was, compared to the ones I've seen, I don't know what it was before that, Michael, if you know, but the first year I was with you guys was amazingly short. I've never seen one that short before. Usually we've gotten 3 weeks. They've usually said a month, and then they've said we probably have it out today, probably have it out tomorrow, and they've said that for about a week, and then we get it. So this is something I want you to be thinking about. I think there's kind of two sides to this. Is that if we carve out 3 weeks or whatever, this group of people, I think, can do a lot, right? This would be another, a prep time is time that you have to, depends how you want to do it. If you just want to do it for the experience, that's one thing. If you want to do it to compete, you're probably talking about some of you at least working at night and on weekends, and because you know what that's like, right? Those of you who've done it before.
Yeah.
You'd want to look at your schedule to see what's going on with mock trial or midterms and things like that. But this group of people seems to be highly motivated. Certainly some of you are to do things, outside of class hours. So there's that. It would be a different, experience. It might give you first timers an idea of what to expect in April, end of April. I had to think about that for the high school competition. But it would also be less time if there's some of you who really want to be looking more at the kind of fundamentals, scripting and certain management. It'll take away from that. So, there's trade-offs here. And up till now, we've just been looking at, hey, do we want to do it? Of course we want to do it, right? So be thinking about that. I want Dan in that discussion for sure. Because go ahead.
Do you guys get together in a physical location anymore, or is it like, how
does
that work?
We can do both. I make time available here, and usually we'll pick like 1 or 2 evenings, and then
hard remotely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah, if I've experienced both like remote and in-person meetings like regarding tech, and like if I had to choose one, definitely in person. But in person, I think that we have to like book this space, right?
Yeah. We'll have, and we've had at least I think we had like 1 evening, maybe 2. I think 1 evening here, and then long block on Saturday. And then we put
Tuesday and Saturday, or was it Thursday and Saturday?
One or the other.
Yeah.
And then we set up a new private repo, a competition repo, and we use the issues. So the first thing we did was to go through the no, it was for you to help you focus, right?
Well, honestly,
it's for all of us, right?
Well,
to get
I love the issue management.
It's very clean.
This is a problem. Yep. This has been solved. This hasn't been solved. So clean. I loved it so much.
Yeah, it did. It helps you. So first thing we did was read through. We were smaller, so I think we broke into just 2 groups, and and assigned like suppose there were 4 servers, so we had each group look at 2 of them and just look at what the requirements said, the simplest document, the one that said, this is what server one will be like, this is what server two will be like, and turn them into basically assertions and have those assertions be issues. And then tag them appropriately somehow. And then just had people, and then that made it easier to do work remotely also.
Yeah,
Right.
you kind of build a framework that we
Yeah.
can start handing out different sections.
Yeah, and sometimes people work together.
Yep.
That way, if there were people who weren't as confident, they could pair up with somebody who was, or there were a couple of people who thought I could maybe kind of do this, but you put two of them together and they could work on it together.
Yeah. I think, me and Henry tag teamed the Alma Linux
terrifying,
file server, I think. Regarding both. Yes, do you remember that whole pseudoers and pseudo incident at competition?
Oh,
What fun that was. We accidentally locked ourselves out of pseudo. So,
Yeah, we
They-
had to revert.
You took the sticky bit away, didn't you?
yeah. We got it back. We got it back.
Important tools for editing the pseudoers file.
Well, it wasn't just that.
Set fackles would have been helpful.
We attempted to
No.
use active
No,
directory
please, no.
groups.
Well, they took the sticky bit away. They had to put it back.
Oh, yeah.
But they did something else. They got it fixed.
Well, we attempted to set the group for the pseudoers file and for pseudo to an active directory administrators group. One problem was that, as we learned, the Linux refuses to recognize active directory groups unless it's under very, very specific circumstances, which we didn't get. So it was looking for a group that didn't exist, and the sticky bit was off. So we didn't we couldn't change it back. Yeah, we tried ourselves hard.
Some of us older folks call that a Barney Five.
Yeah. No, yeah. We did eventually manage to get it back, but ever since
But see,
then.
those are the things you learn.
And
from
you're
stuff.
never gonna
That's the
forget
thing.
that,
You
right?
will never ever forget that.
Yeah, I will
Rest of your
never
life.
ever do that. And it's good that it happened at a competition server and not like at the production server.
Yeah.
At a company.
Those things happen.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I just typed it up this morning. You might have seen it. I was thinking about it earlier, but I forgot Dan wasn't going to be here today until I saw you without your dad. So, and because he's at a funeral today. So this is something to think about. If you have anything to say right now, that's cool. But we should, if we're gonna say let's go for it or whatever, we could say let's go for it now. Dan's a proponent of this, and I want to know what you guys want to do, because I don't know if I've given you this little speech, but my kids learned a lot from mock trial, and they really enjoyed the musicals at Marion, but I don't want this club to be like those in the respect that I'm not going to tell you what to do with your time. I'm not going to say that if you need to miss a third meeting and I've got a limit of 2, that I need you to go get something notarized from your congressman, or it's
A drop of blood.
because
Yeah.
yeah, and
Before you
I mean, because they're coordinating a very large group of people, or they have mock trial has its own reasons, but that's not what life is like, and that's not what your jobs will be like. You'll have to be making those decisions for yourself. And I want this to be something that is teaching you to be, and again, it's not a slam against them, but everything about this club, I want it to be teaching you to be adults. And so this is your guys' decision. I just wanted to get this trade-off in front of you because we haven't talked about it. So for me, I'm happy heading that way, but what I don't want to do is head that way and have us not think about this, and then at the end of the year have you guys say, why didn't you tell us? Right. So totally your decision. And that's
for me, I just need to check schedules, and
Yeah.
I'm interested in your.
Yeah.
I think the more exposure, the better.
Yeah. Or
I would be down with it. It's just mock trial.
Yeah.
They'll put a gun up to my head if I don't make it, and
Oh.
they'll pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So that
That's
They-
that drop of blood, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more than a drop of blood, but you can like sacrifice your firstborn kind of thing.
It's blood splatter against the wall, spatter, whatever.
But I have a feeling I could probably coordinate it. It should be
Yeah.
work.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we'll try to we'll do Saturdays. We'll try to meet it after Killer's morning.
Killer's morning.
Is
Jiu-jitsu session.
what is it? The
Jiu-jitsu.
sniper sessions or whatever kinds of going to.
Live firearms training.
Fujitsu, that's an electronics company.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. I got my Fujitsu session. I'm gonna throw a TV at you. So yeah, I mean, if everybody's interested, look at your schedule. It's in February, right? Not in May.
Yeah.
But look ahead at what your evenings look like, so we can kind of be thinking about that. We've got time, right? So, but kind of be checking that out. And that's all. It'll probably take that's our best guess, right? Last time it took 24 days, counting the competition, right?
Oh,
those aren't business days, those are calendar days. So that's that. And then see what I have here today. This is what we're doing today. Isaac. Last week we said Isaac was going to have time at the beginning of class to do something. Isaac, what was it? And are you ready to go?
Yes, actually.
So
I hope I fixed everything.
Oh, with your Python script?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
Rest of
Uh-oh.
it.
So I have learned
That's the
kind
top
of the hard way.
That's
Why?
why I know it's not
That-
gonna work.
There's the term, it works on my machine.
Oh, God.
Is like
Yep, that is very.
I'm down to
very real.
37%, but it says it's plugged in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
out
say it's
Ethernet
charging.
jack, out.
Got a little light.
No HDMI there.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm moving it to a better spot.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a minute.
That's
So Chris, you might want to start rambling on something while I configure my sway to actually work with
Yeah.
extendable
Okay.
displays.
Tell us about airplanes.
I realize I have another superpower. I am the fabric version of King Midas. Oh wait, I told this joke someplace, didn't I?
Okay.
Everything I touch, man,
It works without any
turns to
configuration.
felt.
Terse felt.
There
you go.
Let's- So
Felt.
I gotta quickly
Felt.
this dude.
Oh, you get it. Yeah, that did indeed.
Yeah, this is
How
kind
do
of
I-
felt. That wasn't a good.
How do I?
Keep them up at King.
Nice.
You know what?
The jokes I think of right away are all ones I've told.
Mod shift.
Because you guys could probably answer some of my jokes. Three-legged dog walks into saloon in the Old West and he says, "All right, which one of you guys shot my paw?" My dad, my paw.
I've got one.
Yep.
A blind man walks into a bar and says, "Ouch."
There we go.
The Halloween version of the bar joke is a skeleton walks into a bar and says, "I'll take a beer and a mop."
It worked without any configuration.
Excellent.
It is Linux never works out of the box.
Linux always, it just works.
Hold on.
It said no one.
Big.
Yes.
Said talk
Zig. I've been learning
A
Zig.
lot of Python, but just
Zig? Oh, here. This is what I've been messing around with lately.
Yeah.
SQLite.
that reminds
SQL,
me.
no,
of-
not C. Well, that's with Python. I'm
Hey,
not such a SQL.
in Iowa, it's
Zig.
pronounced squeal.
So this
Thank
is-
you.
There we go. Squeal.
Between Ruby and Python, but has curly braces.
Just look at the code and tell me what you think. Just look at
Can
that.
you
That's
control
Zig.
plus it
I
for
can
the
make
old
it
man?
for the old guy.
That
I
how
don't
to
think
do.
that you're
Is that-
switching
is that-
properties with the enumeration operator.
Just you know what, Oxel? I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't make this language.
Wow,
Used
that-
it.
Yes.
Looks a little bit like Go.
It is a lot like Go. It's a lot like Go.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so there's that.
Alright.
I'm working on insertion sort right now, but I got selection sort and bubble sort, and it actually works, which is honestly a Christmas miracle. I'm being completely honest with you.
What's this? What language is this?
This is
Excuse me.
Zig?
It's the replacement for C. It's basically it's like Rust is too I mean, that's the Rust community. I don't want to deal with the Rust community. I'm not the only one who thought that though. So they went and made SIG, which is basically Rust, but it's nowhere near as strict with memory management. It's still safe, but it's a lot easier to be unsafe, making it a lot better for embedded platforms and writing malware.
Is the community largely the Arch community?
Zig?
Yeah.
No, they're just quiet people who want to be left alone like me.
That's great.
You must be quiet other.
Yeah. No, on the internet, I'm quiet. In person, I'll yap all day. But here we have Python. And yes, I wrote
magic methods.
magic methods.
Why are you using a class? Classes are bad.
You know what, Oxel? Again, I didn't ask for your opinion.
Oh, he's just overriding.
Because
Is that a class?
Because I gotta say, well, object-oriented programming is much easier for like task management and module management. It may not always be the most efficient, but like if you want to, like for me, if I want something to like work and then I edit it here, then it works everywhere. Object-oriented.
And that's wonderful for Java.
I use classes because I like this notation. You call a thing and then you call a function and you call a function on that function.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like that
I see
notation. It just makes sense to me.
You have a chain.
It's chain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like
I'm
chain,
100% with you on that. I see that.
and it can only really be done with these. So this is just, it's a necessary evil, Oxel.
It is.
It's a choice.
Exactly. So this is my database driver. I hope most of you can read Python. For some reason, I have it configured to where this database can be multi-threaded. I used a single, this is the piece of code that has been unchanged for the longest. I've used like this, I just copied and pasted this off of like a project I've used elsewhere. I just pasted it in.
Hey, honestly, I get it.
And then
Makes sense.
we create the database and then we set the flag. And then we create the CSV thing. This one, I don't actually know if this works.
So what is the purpose of this code? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
So it's the purpose
I'll give
of
you
this code.
15 minutes.
Okay, so the purpose of this code is it's just an event manager. It's a CRUD application. Create, read. I have it different names because it's more intuitive for me. But yeah, these are the driver functions for the logic, but it's really just an event. If I can remember how to launch a terminal. Gosh darn it, how do you open a terminal in VS?
Go back to
Honestly, I just grab that bottom line and drag it up.
Thank
and it automatically
you.
creates one. Oh, hey.
Wait, that actually works.
What is it? Is it VS Code?
It's VS Code, yes.
That's
Control
VS
J will
Code.
bring up the whole bottom panel.
that dude.
I know that because I frequently hide the bottom panel, which also is Control J.
Oh yeah.
You can just do main.py. It even has a cute little help menu.
However, it left automatically.
What? What do you mean it left all of that?
Oh, okay.
It's like a CLI command.
It's
okay.
a CLI command
Okay.
thing, so I can just run
Gotcha.
fetch, and I can fetch all. Why did it break?
Even touch.
KO.
Wax on.
It worked yesterday, I swear, guys.
Welcome to program.
Please don't swear.
I swear.
Works on my machine.
It always. What is your?
That's why Java is run once or program once, run everywhere.
Debug
It's
everywhere.
debug everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes.
If you
that's
use
very true.
Docker, then you can say it runs everywhere.
Well,
But
I programmed something
No,
in
no, no.
Windows and it ran the same way on my Linux Raspberry
Why?
Pi.
why did it break?
You have to create it.
Oh, I know why it broke.
Do you have to create it first before you?
No, so I gotta go down here where I create the database wrapper, and I'm gonna say driver equals SQLite 3.
Never specified your driver.
I got it. Because now it's gonna work. Look at that. It works.
Look at that.
Holy guacamole. It works.
Test-driven development would have helped you then.
I don't know how to do this thing in Python.
Or even just
There you
test
go.
the development.
Okay. I swear it works with SQLite 3. It doesn't work with CSV. All right.
However, have you
I-
tried every CRUD option?
With SQLite 3,
Do they work right now?
they should.
Because your fetch option did not work.
That was with CSV.
I get
I
it.
switch it to SQL 3 and it will work.
However, I will remind you, unless
There's
they
like-
all work
Are they?
and you
Yeah.
test it
Yeah, I
like
think there's
right
TDD
here,
libraries.
believe me, I have,
There, see, it works.
but
Like,
that's
fetch
fetch.
with the name.
Can you create updates and
Unit
delete?
testing bash scripts.
Read that.
Unit,
Shut.
unit 2.
Chester.
There we go.
Why do you use
Got it.
those two? Oh, gotcha.
There you
Wait,
go. Unit 2,
wait.
X unit.
Hold on, Isaac.
The time is wrong. It didn't happen at midnight.
It did now.
Oh.
That won't work. That,
It's not ISO 86.
Oh.
Hey, at least you're using standard time, time.
yeah, you need
It's
that.
because it's the only thing that Python's datetime module works with.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well,
that's
well,
hilarious.
Well, unless you tell it otherwise.
Oh,
Right.
it's you're supposed to do
That's-
it.
No, I think it's that one that doesn't have a zero.
It actually works with a space. My
Right.
professor got mad at me when I required the T because it turns out it works without it. I couldn't ever get it to work until he told me that it works that way, and then it works. So you know what?
Oh, it's the old hey, can you look at this? And then it works.
Exactly.
There you go.
And it worked. So now we can do. Please work. There we go. See, and it's stored in lowercase because he made me,
Because it
and we can modify too.
what stopped.
There we go. We're gonna change the
Create.
starting
You
time.
have update. Might be easier if you copy and paste that.
Every time I try to do it, it breaks. Sway is really
Yeah.
weird that way.
Yeah, I see it.
I just
Copying and pasting is super great, but it doesn't always work.
there we go. It worked, guys. I made the terrorist
now,
attack happen a year
delete.
before.
Yo.
Can you make it go away?
Yeah, we can make the terrorist attack go away.
There you go. Wait,
What
but now
terrorist
does
attack?
it still exist?
There is the terrorist attack never happened.
There you go.
Just with
Does it
a
accept wildcards on your delete?
Ooh.
no.
Are you sure?
Of course not. It doesn't.
Actually,
Are you sure you
it
put a
might-
percent sign in there? It's not just gonna go after everything.
we could try it. We should
Okay, you gotta try it now.
So
I bet you, well, if you're interfacing with SQLite.
No,
No
it-
such
it-
event. Nope.
No, that's a percent, right?
Asterisk.
That's an asterisk. We need a percent.
oh yeah, I knew that. I think it prevents SQL injection though. I know
Let's
Python.
try.
No
Good.
such
Yeah.
event.
No, what do you do? T%.
Are we seriously gonna try to like inject SQL into my
Yeah.
command? Is it now?
The biggest problem with CRUD databases is injection. Nobody
always-
cares if you make a database if it has SQL injection.
Okay. What
I think
injection are we gonna try this time? So just putting in percent doesn't work.
What about like
But
it's test, right? Is the name of the event. So-
Yeah.
what's the name of the table?
The events.
Events. So
Well, we can go
Apostrophe.
Spectre code.
Put in apostrophe
Hey,
to
you,
break.
look,
Yeah.
you were talking
Why do we get excited about
to,
breaks?
just take it in apostrophe all by itself.
talking to SQL.
Wait,
If
wait,
anybody
wait.
knows how-
It's
how
not
to
gonna
inject.
work. It's asking if it exists already. So you're gonna need to inject with the query option. So if we go look at the query by name function here, this is what we need to inject with. This is what we have to.
For
work
name
with.
equals question mark. So it's parameterized, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it should
take
so-
it. It should take
It
it.
should.
Give it a single quote. Give it a
Definitely
single
test
quote.
it.
No,
Okay.
it'll,
Still
the
test
parameter,
it.
that's the thing.
T%.
Like that?
Lowercase.
Oh,
It doesn't
lowercase.
matter.
Should.
Yeah.
Now we're testing the underlying library, which is not part of his code.
I did not write that.
Yeah.
The the thing that some people don't realize though, and this doesn't apply here, is that to prevent SQL injection, you have to prevent injection at every layer of the stack.
Yes.
So if the web page allows injection, your SQL tier is broken. If the service tier allows injection, your SQL tier is broken. If the database tier, store proc or whatever allows injection, your data tier is broken. So people see their SQL injection, they come to us like, your proc is broken. We said, no, our proc's fine. What are you doing? You know, it's like, and you go back and you look and there's something that they're putting together a stored procedure call and they're concatenating that with user input, right? And so then when they build what's supposed to be a stored procedure call, what they should be doing is this, having parameter markers that, and the
Only
rule
accept
is
certain values and
I was
never
reading,
allow the ID field to be.
I was reading the
Yeah.
the SQLite 3 library for Python. It said, never use F strings. We will throw something at you and kill your firstborn. That is a horrible idea. Use a parameter system.
yeah, the
Not for
Trust
SQL.
nothing from
Why
the
not?
user.
Yes.
Yeah.
well, the thing with
Zero trust
what the
policy.
user gives you is that you treat it like an expression. You only evaluate what they give you. You never execute anything the user gives you.
Yeah, you have
And
to
I go
validate it.
extreme on that sometimes. Somebody passes in a parameter like for sort order, it says ascending. And I will put, you know, if they passed in ascending sort order is ascending, I put ascending.
Oh,
In case it changes later.
we have to get a value.
But okay.
Never mutate.
But now,
Very cool.
all right,
Isaac.
however,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
so that works with SQLite. Can you CRUD in your CSV?
No.
So
When we first ran it, it broke.
Then your
You can build
SQLite
that.
database works, but like I
he's
said,
not done. I think he just added that.
if you give him like both SQL and CSV.
I'm gonna fix it. I
They-
haven't tested the CSV yet. The CSV hasn't been tested.
Now I get it because I would do the same thing. I would make SQLite work perfectly.
Yeah.
Then if I absolutely had to, I would then make the CSV work.
Make the
However,
logic work and
yeah.
then add the database driver later.
So under SRC in our repo, we should put like put in like
Isaac's half working program.
no, put in a folder for your name, right?
Sure.
Each of us could put in a folder with our first name, and then like you could put your things out
There
in
we
separate
go.
folders or whatever. Mine are kind of showing up all over, so I should like put copies of mine. Git does weird things with links, so don't
I'm actually trying to find my
Anyway.
CRUD program.
Yeah, you have to-
and
don't use
show
links.
that
I don't
on.
want
Here
to.
you go.
There's
Does
an
not
option,
support
but
SQL.
yeah.
Oh, this.
But
Okay.
it looks a lot nicer.
This is all the functions are queried just from the table that I made. So when the user does input, it just hits it against the table, and if it doesn't work, then it's like it doesn't work. That's how I did it. I just used
is here.
the table, and I have this abomination of a lambda function here.
Opens
a That's-
lambda that prints do 100 things.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, this is probably I don't even know what I make of this code. This is also, I wrote this once and I haven't changed it since
I actually kind of
because it
like it.
just works.
Honestly, there you go. Don't fix what's not broken. I learned that the hard way, being a Java dev. Don't fix what's not broken.
Straw poll in the room. If it's Java, is it broken? Hands? Okay. It's interesting that, you know, I've seen Java go from being the new, you know, the nascent rising star to now being the stodgy old monolithic,
Okay,
but it's still,
honestly,
right? It's got this
I
huge
still don't
footprint in
really
industry.
understand like why Android like is so heavily like relied on Java, because for me like I don't really care about how memory efficient Java is or how great like everybody in the world is using Python. Android cannot be the only person that doesn't use Python.
Well, it's supposed to be cross-platform. Like, there are x86 Android phones.
Really?
Yes.
I actually have Wage right on here. I have an
He's got
x86
Wage
64
right,
phone on here.
There's Have you ever seen those
I
little
love the
phones
boss
that
community.
Target employees carry around on their belts?
Yeah.
Those are x86.
Well, it doesn't make, why?
Why not?
Laptop
It's just a platform.
on a phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because running Kmu on this thing is a nightmare. I don't want to need to root this thing and install like box 64 and then wine
What
and
is
then
that?
mess with all that.
Run
Why?
DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Honestly, it'd be more of an adventure to get a Mac OS virtual machine. That would be more fun.
Don't even.
So
try.
I was disappointed that
Mac
Ubuntu
VMs.
dropped their phone,
Yeah.
their phone
Ubuntu
OS.
Touch.
Is that what it was?
Is it-
I was really looking forward to that.
Me too. I know Windows.
Windows had a phone.
I was the first person in the world once to run a particular Linux distro on my phone. It was exhausting.
Oh yes.
I never tried that again.
There we go.
I tried.
I put it out on XDA.
I mean, we tried to root an Android tablet. That was,
It was not happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
It depends a lot on the OS or on the vendor. I only buy Google phones now because I used to like to root phones, but now I see that as that's a big security problem. So now if I do anything, I'll install what's the really secure one?
Oh, Graphene OS.
Yeah, I'll install Graphene.
That's what I wanted to put
Yeah.
on my phone, but it's a Samsung phone and they have
Yeah,
OEM vendor lock.
it has to be a Google phone to do that. It wasn't playing nice with Google Fi though, and so I had to uninstall it and put
Lineage.
no, I just put stock OS back on it. That's the thing, stock OS is pretty good now. It's hard to be a real OS bigot anymore. We got all the laptop OSs work well. What are you supposed to get mad at anymore? But
Gen 2.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
we got a minute and a half left on your 15. Anything you want to slip in before we start debugging bash code?
I have
C#
one last
is
thing.
Java, but worse.
There's a
Why is it
distro.
works? Java code
Because
absolutely.
Microsoft made it.
That's not about.
That's not
That's a definitely.
that.
I disagree.
Well,
C# is bad,
If C# is
but it's
written-
just Microsoft Java, and that's not anything to be mad about.
if the
C#
code
is highly respected, I think.
if the
Like,
code
put
language
it
itself
out
is
there.
bad, I will respect that. But just because Microsoft made it does not make it a valid reason for why it sucks.
Can I give you a counterexample on
I
Microsoft?
was even bad to say whatever I wanted, so I
Yeah,
just thought of like
that's
the
true.
dumbest, most controversial thing I could say.
That's
So
that
basically
wasn't
just
that wasn't
be
bad.
yourself?
I mean, I could also say
Oh,
JavaScript is the greatest programming language ever created.
That's just a lie.
next to basic.
I'm gonna try installing Justin Bieber Linux over the weekend.
That's a thing.
Linux.
Or
I mean,
And the logic of
Ubuntu
that.
exists.
or Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
I want to hit
I'm gonna
whoever
say
made
that. I think
that.
there's some people that have too much time on their hands.
Internet access, basically the same thing.
Yeah, well,
Sorry,
Yeah.
let me just check my
Is
list of
Ubuntu a
random-
thing? The way you all said that.
Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Give me
Yes.
back to. I'm gonna show you.
You got 8 seconds. Go for it.
I gotta show you.
I have
No, it will be
there
worth
is
it.
no doubt in
2,
my mind that-
1.
If it will book the next. Please hot. Okay, let's go.
Oh, that's your. Hey, my timer actually made noise this time. First time. I've tried it 3 times. It never made noise.
that's disgusting.
Ooh, 81,000 downloads. Thanks.
Why?
This is Ubuntu, guys.
Oh, I have another
That's
thing.
it.
There's an
We are
alternate Linux mascot called Xenia.
So it's Ubuntu.
Does Ubuntu
You
have
guys have
any
way too many.
Leo Dango? What?
You guys have way
Okay.
too many things not to do. You guys
That's what I'm saying. Too much time on your hands.
get a hobby that's not making stupid OSs.
I didn't make this. This
I'm not
wasn't
talking
me.
to you, I'm talking to
I'm
the
just a
idiots
scholar who
that-
knows about it.
You know what's really great? You know what's like a really great
distro.
Dude, it's just Ubuntu, dude.
It's
just
just
Ubuntu.
It's literally just it's literally just
I'm
Ubuntu.
sorry, what?
What?
Dude, that's the minimum recommended spec. This is the recommended specs.
Modern Intel-based Apple Macs?
There you go.
What?
Well, it's part of their market, right? So people, they're older Macs,
But-
right? That are Intel based, they want to read.
That's.
But yeah, but every other Linux runs on. Ubuntu runs on those fine.
But you're not supposed to.
What? Ubuntu? It works fine.
As we
Okay.
affect the general
Stable.
quality. You can have it
Pretty
back.
please. Thanks.
It's Ubuntu.
You can switch from Mint to Ubuntu.
Shouldn't it be?
Something. I'll send you something and you'll hate it.
I don't know if I want to see this.
Is this the right? Okay.
I'll go on Ubuntu so I can use.
Anybody know what was it Guido von Rossum? Is that his name? The guy that was Python's benevolent dictator for life until he quit because he was tired of the there was one pet proposal that kind of wore him out. But yeah, that's his name. I think I know it was the ridiculous statement. If Microsoft's doing it, it's got to be bad. This Guido von Rossum, the guy who invented Python, was their benevolent dictator for life. He works for Microsoft now, and Microsoft is doing the project. They have it listed here. The project's called Faster C Python or something like that.
Is that just Python?
C Python's the normal
Is
Python
that just
distribution.
Python 3.13?
And they've been making all of the speed up contributions to Python over the last several years. It's coming straight from Microsoft. They're contributing.
I thought I could trust Python. Oh.
The thing that's hard to get used to is that you can trust Microsoft more.
Wow, Isaac's one
They own
personality
GitHub.
trait is
They make
I
the
hate
best
Windows.
development environment
that's
with
It's the
WSL
only
and
thing
Windows.
that might be worse than Sim is Windows.
why. Why do you hate Windows with such a burning passion?
I don't. I just prefer Linux.
I hate Windows.
Okay, but the
Copilot thing.
I
I
used to think Windows was okay until they made Copilot a dependency for File Explorer. That's when they lost me as a customer.
Wait,
Well,
what?
It is. It's a dependency. Copilot is the Copilot extension is a dependency of File Explorer. That's a hard no for me. I'll be
Well,
over.
yeah,
I'm gonna use Fedora for a little while longer.
Honestly,
Thank you.
I'm gonna
It's a
be sure
dependency on,
that
it has a dependency on File Explorer.
File Explorer is dependent on Copilot.
And they're merging all that together. So that's.
That makes it sound like I can't run File Explorer without Copilot.
Yep.
Every Windows
It
machine
breaks.
has File Explorer without having Copilot.
The new version, Windows 24 H2, I think, is when they introduced the dependency. Either H2 or H3. One or the other. I don't remember.
Well, like honestly, I'm gonna be going away from Windows and probably on to Mac. No, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious because at this point this laptop has been blue screening so often, and every single Windows laptop that I've had has broken in some key way.
I wonder
constantly.
why.
It's Fedora, dude.
No, because just is really long battery life for program. I've done
Fedora. Well, connected to the wall with a power
I
outlet.
need ARM. I need
This-
something portable that I
Yeah.
can bring everywhere that will last me forever. That
As
I
much
can
as I
program
hate to
on
say it, I
do
do
work.
think Macs are one of the best options for laptops.
Yeah, this dependency looks suspect.
But
And
that-
Copilot runs in
it's
environments
so
where there's
great.
no Explorer available.
Yeah,
so,
every hate.
um,
I don't know why they added File Explorer as a dependent.
Works
File-
so
Doesn't look
Copilot
like
is
they
a
did.
dependency.
battery life.
I can't find any-
battery life,
I don't see that they did.
So I'm sitting off of a
Yes,
couple articles that I've read.
yes, put them in the like news channel if you see them. So let's get started here.
I still love Linux, and also like remember the command line in Apple. It's basically just bash. It's
Well,
not. Remember, it's not exactly
The
it's not
command
same
lines,
thing, but like
yeah,
it's got IP header sudo. It's
My
basically
only it has the GNU tool. It has most of the GNU
Yeah.
tool chain.
yeah.
My problem is that it's BSD based.
BSD.
but
I don't honestly. So what?
let's
do you mean
this is a
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about it in
Cedar.
Zulip. Yeah, So we want to look at, I think it was search history. And what was the other one? Is this flow control thing, right? So we had this guy. I forgot to look at this guy. So we had this guy. This is the somewhat buggy one. And we were going to have, I was hoping to have you guys show us stuff that you did to fix things. I'm trying to remember right now, that's what I should say, what the little bugs were. And so there was a guide in GitHub, right, that should tell me that. I think there was. That's, I don't want to get rid of that. That's that test framework for Bash.
Uh-oh.
Got to keep that. So code, meeting notes last week, homework. So for the iffy function, that was the first piece. This one. I said there were problems with this one, apparently. Whoops. Trying to learn how to use Alt-Tab.
Tab.
So apparently iffy is producing incorrect output. That is so easy to believe.
Yeah.
Wait, if he's working?
Iffy is iffy.
It's been
That's
iffy.
a little iffy. Side note, I could totally kill a chimichanga right now. And side note.
Don't kill the.
All right, re-enter side note. A chimichanga sounds really, really good right now.
Chimichangas always kind of sound good.
Exactly.
Almost all the time.
You know,
Like,
chimichangas are
it's
by
like the
far
most American
Mexican
Mexican food
thing.
ever made. It's a burrito that you dunk into a fryer. Like, how can you go wrong with that?
Okay. I have a Latino friend who's from Central America. He came here. Like, I want some Mexican food. Pancheros. Authentic Mexican food. That sounds good. As we know, Pancheros is not even remotely close to authentic Mexican food. He came in almost like a heart attack at the burrito. I mean, like as I learned, American Mexican food is way more meat, way more cheese. In Mexico, it's like tons of lettuce, tons of vegetables, then some meat, and then bigger, much less sweet.
You mean to tell me that us American stuff is like just like a heart, is like congestive heart failure pill? Is that what you mean to tell me?
Well,
Still the wrong folder.
It's like honestly, hey, I love American style Mexican food. I will eat like a burrito. I will eat a Panteros burrito all the time. I love it, but you can't call it Mexican.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I found this in my terminal finally.
Let me start the meeting notes file for that.
No.
All right. So
Just your
You mean Isaac being himself?
wow, dude. Wow, no, like no, why is the core dumping? Oh,
The core is dumping.
it starts with a flow control buggy.
oh, that's actually an underflow. Sorry, Zig, you got that wrong.
Hey, at least we didn't have a
Oh.
kernel panic.
CHmod.
thread
That's
panic.
interesting.
Kernel panic.
I have to do chmod.
Oh no!
U plus X. I'm adding execute to the user.
Why would you do?
I don't know.
No. O plus RWX. Come on, it's not that bad. Just do it.
Trust me, bro.
Trust.
There's no way this could go wrong.
Nothing bad will happen. No,
Okay.
I saw Reddit answer. No, a
All right.
answer. The answer was actually chmod 777.
All right.
Somebody posted
Back
it, like,
here.
in full confidence.
Back.
Nice.
Took me a while. Sorry. So iffy, that would be number 2, the if statement. And my font's a little bigger. So up here it dumps out the function for you to see. which is a nice little bit of code. But so we call iffy 3, and it tells us that the number is 3, which is a non-zero integer. I think you might remember this from last time. It gets +5 right, it gets -8 right, it gets 0 right. But when we send it something when we send it nothing, it still says that it's 0. And if we send it a character string, it still says that it's 0. That's the problem. That is incorrect output.
I don't like your truthiness, buddy.
Nope.
Iffy is lying.
The shell is not supposed to, well, it is kind of truthy, but so who has a fix for me here? Was that Andy?
Well, can we see the code?
Yeah, I want to. Well, you're supposed to have done this.
Well, I don't have the brain capacity to like
Hey.
go through your hard drive.
Yeah.
What?
So the code is here.
Oh, you don't give me an integer.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for, but it didn't happen. I have to date myself with my.
I'm just so very passionate about integers.
Yeah.
We love integers in Zig.
So this problem. This is the problem. It's the problem. Henry, are you raising your hand?
Yes. My fix was in the first if statement we have num equal 0, that statement only applies to any numerals, so we change it to equals double equals.
Changes to double equals
That was nice.
like that. Because this is a string, the quote 0 quote. All right, let's try that.
Control S, a lifesaver.
Yeah, although code seems to save my code so often that I'm not sure it matters. I have trouble getting back out
sure.
and running it. It's like I wonder if it does that if I'm not in a Git repo, because that would be kind of rude. But so let's run this again. We go out to which one's if statement is 2. And it didn't work. Was I in the buggy one? I was. Well, we can look up. That's why I did this. It didn't pick it up. It is the same.
Sorted it.
So this is buggy. It's equal. Why didn't it take the change? Let's make sure I don't have a uh-oh.
Here.
Type. Let's just make sure there isn't one. Okay. Hold on, which I'm in. Make sure I'm in. This is Windows, right? Oh, no. That's the problem. I went to, so let me wget CDC 2025. Okay. And then it's going to be meeting notes. That's the problem. 2024 10/5.
Running the wrong one.
Yeah, I was going to move this repo on my laptop
Gotcha.
over to Linux because they're actually separate file systems, and a real Linux kernel funking over to the Windows file
Oh,
system
yeah.
is slow.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to, for a while, work off the Linux file system. Okay, so let's do this again. This should work better.
Famous
Nope.
last words.
Yeah.
This should work.
Uh-oh. What did it say this time?
So I'm wonderful.
This is still wrong. It's not wrong because your thing's wrong. It's wrong because it's the wrong.
It's printing the. Yeah, I think it's still running the wrong code. Or
Hold it.
maybe- or
Well, it's like
maybe-
my
Is it printing the wrong code?
no, I'm not. I think my function to go to the Windows directories just isn't correct.
Mhm.
And the thing that Axel sent me, it's not in my profile correctly. So hang on, sorry. So Chris, documents, get SQL, CDC, 2025, yay, meeting notes, 2024, 10/05, just like you would have written it. Okay, try this again. At least we know we're right. directory this time. Here we go. Now that we finally ran Henry's code, we got give me an integer. I'm sorry for yelling, just so very passionate about integers. Now, Henry, I guess you said why this works. That makes sense to everybody. You said it so calmly, professionally, and quietly. Not all of our discussions in this room happen that way.
I can confirm.
Very thorough.
And why did it work?
You're welcome.
Instead, she deals with literal integers versus string comparison. So you're basically comparing a number to a string literal. It's always going to be true because it's string literal.
Yeah, let's see here.
As long as the string is not null, they get return something if there's anything in the string at all.
There you go. So this is in the help file for the built-in command left brace. It says integer -eq integer 2 is for integers. Well, you guessed that because it's integer EQ.
So -e is able to compare two things of the same type, but when you compare two things of different types, it'll still compare them, but it'll compare them incorrectly.
Well, I think the first one was an integer that we put in,
But then
but
the second was a string.
this was a string, and so
Yeah.
it did something. I don't know what.
Change to a 0.
But
Yes.
yeah, if I would have said
Yeah.
0,
Numerical 0.
that might
in
have
which
worked.
case in that should have.
Yeah. I don't know what I did in mine. We'll take a peek here.
Well, num is that of type. Well, is that's actually looking like a string though? No.
Yeah, your variable up top. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so these quotes don't make it a string. These quotes say that I don't want to engage in word splitting and all those variable expansions. I just want whatever they
Gotcha.
passed in.
That works.
So
okay, yeah. So num is actually is a string. However.
So here's what did I do? I used the regex. So the equal tilde is how you say I'm going to use a regex. And notice nothing is quoted. If you use the regex operator, everything to the right is literally considered a regex. So like if I put apostrophes around that, it would think I wanted to see a literal apostrophe because it just takes it as a regex. So you don't quote that. It just hurt my head when I learned that. Yeah, so I did. Well, for me, this is the natural way.
You like regex.
I do. For me, this is like saying I want an integer. Yeah. So Henry's fix is a simple fix. We like that. Okay, so going back to the guide that works. What's the next? The next one's the for loop. And it looks like it has two problems. One is the loop doesn't loop. That's a problem. And then it's saying it's got a glob. I'll show it to you in a second, refresh your memory. And so it's got this wildcard pattern. It basically says for every file that matches this wildcard pattern, please print the name of the file. And instead, it prints the name of the glob and goes home. So it's not exactly what we expected. We'll go to the buggy version here. And that's this. So we pass in, we'll see it when we demo, but we basically pass in something that says like star.text or something like that. And the loop says, I found it. It does loop once. Okay. It says I found a text file named star.text, and then it is done. So go back out to Ubuntu here. And that's the for loop number 3. And so I do some work here that you can look to see how I got a temporary directory. I iterated and created 10 text files. And this glob does match those 10 text files. Okay, that's correct. They actually exist. Trust me. And so then I call it with the correct glob, this glob, and I pass it in globby/temp/ blah, blah, blah. That's the right glob. And instead of iterating over the files and saying I found, blah.1 text, blah.2 text, it says I found a text file named, and then it names the glob and it stops. So did anybody other than Henry fix this one? I'm wondering. Anybody other than Henry try? Isaac, do you look at this stuff?
No.
Yeah. No. Well, look at it now.
It's glaring, obviously, look at it in code. It's usually underlined
It does.
a problem.
And it's also, I'm not going to turn on my debugger here, but there's a debugger here, but I want to keep plugging for this thing. Oh, I'm already in a browser there. So shell check. Just come out here. It's going to need a shebang line because it can do multiple shells. It needs to know which one I've got. Shebang. I can't type shebang while I'm talking. And then you just pop that in. And I'm guessing
I think the hash goes before the exclamation mark.
it does. That's why it's called shebang, not bang shit.
That's a 1.
It is. There we go.
Their first try.
Yeah. And it's pointing it out. And it says, since you double quoted this, it will not word split and the loop will only run once. It's like a magic 8 balls. Thing's amazing. And
you can install this on your system.
yeah, you can install it as a plugin into
What?
VS Code. And if you have and then there's a bash debugger that I can't remember the name of. And if you have both of these installed, this thing will lint in real time. It'll tell you this information in real time in VS Code.
What? I'm at
Okay.
it.
So.
Yeah.
So.
This is why mine had a squiggly underneath that. And I didn't have to think hard about it. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, all right, so then when you just pass in the variable, it will by default split it up in, by spaces.
Yep. So here's the deal.
Gotcha.
People will tell you wrongly that you should always quote your variable names. I quoted my variable name and it broke it.
Yeah.
Why? It's because you shouldn't always quote your variable names. Let me try to show this. Let me get out of here. What's in this folder? 2 things that start with F. Okay, so I can say, well, let's do this. Say glob, a variable called glob that equals F, F star. I'm showing my hand. So if I echo glob, it expands it.
Gotcha.
The curly braces around it, it's the same thing.
If I do like this,
Like $sign, yeah.
yeah, the purpose of the curly braces is if I have, if you wouldn't otherwise be able to tell where the variable name stops.
Really?
So if I was going to say like,
If you had a quoted string and you had multiple, like, you're flipping.
yeah, if I was going to say A, B, C,
Oh, this is
glob, D, E, F. And in this case, it's quoted, so it's not going to expand, but we're going to get to. Then the F star goes in the middle of it. If you do that without the quotes, this is going to be a little weird. But oh, so that is different because that is a rule I don't know.
So wait,
But the main thing is where we really want to stay here is that if I put quotes around the word glob, I get out the unexpanded version of the variable. If I don't put quotes around the variable name glob, I get out the expanded version according to those variable expansions that we've talked about briefly. So in this for loop, so when people say you should always quote your variable names,
yeah,
they don't really understand what's going on. So what
when
happens
they
here?
Quote, it's quoting is the literal value. Like
It
literally equals F asterisk.
Yeah.
However, via when it expands it by default, it will expand it into different file names.
Yeah.
Like file this, file that. But like it will like literally expand it into I found these files that matched this or that.
Yeah, so in this case, I didn't plan on this, but I was clever enough to use the same variable name as we have in this for loop. And so, and I know the spacing's off, but it doesn't matter in shell.
Yeah.
And so it says, I found a file named f star because it said for f in this one value for this variable.
Yeah,
Now, if the variable actually had two file names in it, it would have looped over those.
exactly.
Well, maybe not. But if I take those, I love this, right? If I take the quotes away from glob, it will say now f star expands before the loop runs. It'll say f star expands into these two names.
Yeah.
And I'll get that.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah. For f in f star do versus for f in the expanded
These two file
version
names.
of
Yeah.
block, which is flow control.
And you can see that, even with echo, right? You
Yeah.
can see the behavior.
You always got to quote your string.
A lot of people.
Well,
I don't.
well,
Quote your
that
yeah.
messes with me because I mean, like that's super cool, and I love that. But like, why does it automatically expand your variables into different file names, or like specifically into files?
Because the glob is f star, and there's two files here that start with f.
Well, oh yeah. Like, so why does I'm a little bit confused as to why like Linux by default like will expand your string your variables into files like f star automatically. Yeah.
But
like I get that.
It's like it's like you're using ls or dir in Windows. Like PowerShell do the same thing.
Really?
If there are places where you say, well, PowerShell,
PowerShell, I'm pretty sure is just like
you have to use get item or something like that.
Expansion.
It's just the defined. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just the defined behavior of the glob. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
makes sense.
and I like the answer. Everything's a file. That's a good answer,
I
actually.
mean,
Linux is everything is legitimately a file. Your graphical environment, that's a file.
Yeah, I knew that.
Your server is a file.
Yeah, there's a directory.
Look, it has a quick fix. Will it work?
Click it. What?
Show wiki, disable,
Code-
fix with CodeGB, fix with Copilot.
Copilot, do it. Do it with Copilot.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on, it doesn't have to. I was gonna say.
Oh, it fixed it. Did it fix?
Accept.
Oh my word. What? Can you connect that to a locally running Olama? If I can connect.
So I don't know. I don't know. Call me quote unquote old fashioned, but I'm getting really annoyed by like why is Windows like choke holding us and forcing Copilot down our throats?
No, I installed the Copilot extension.
Okay.
And
You thought that this was installed by default. Okay. I'm like,
No.
Yes, I'm
These are
tired of Copilot.
These are my 74 installed extensions.
Yeah. Okay.
As
As long as you,
I use a lot of languages.
if you installed it,
You're making me feel bad.
That's why
I forgot.
remember one time here I couldn't remember the where syntax for PowerShell. Sometimes it just all mixes together. Yeah.
I understand.
But yeah, so that's the for loop. Both of the problems were because $glob was quoted. I think Henry mentioned that one. He said, well, fix one of them and they both work.
And then a Docker used it.
What else do we have? It wasn't that much. Oh, weekday. So weekday was interesting. It'll exhibit its bug today, but if you're doing the homework during the week, it would not, because the bug was visible on Saturday and Sunday, but not on weekdays. And what the bug does, come back in here. Oh wait, I guess we already showed that the for loop was fixed. I can't remember if we'll do that.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. We did at the command line prompt. Oh, okay, let's live large. Ooh, that works. Okay. And then the script goes and deletes the temporary directory. It's actually kind of a good place to look for good practice on how to set that up. Didn't use a testing library. It's kind of test-driven development, but I said it needs to do this. I didn't assert anything, but it
You
wasn't, it
didn't
wasn't,
have a describe block. and
it wasn't done until it worked. Visual, yeah. Okay, now I totally forgot which one's broken now. The case statement, right? That's the weekend thing. And so, here's the case statement. This is a function we're calling. There's no parameters. You just call weekday and it says, what day is it? And it gets that information from date, and date plus percent capital A will return as this. I mean, I hate to belittle something so obvious, but it will return the name of the current day of the week. There's a section in the date man page that shows if you do this plus percent thing, then there's all these, that's where you can do your date string formatting. Okay, and they only ask for one element, the name of the current day.
Gotcha.
You can pass in a different day if you want, but
Yeah.
so here's my case statement. We get the day of the week and we say, hey, if it's Monday, say start of the work week. If it's Tuesday, it's Tuesday, keep going. If it's Wednesday, oh my gosh, I'm dying. Thursday, almost there. It's Friday, the weekend is near. Saturday or Sunday, enjoy your weekend. And then otherwise, unknown day. And we print unknown day, Saturday. So what's wrong?
Oh, I see what's wrong.
Yes.
So it's just taking the string as it is. You need to move the pipe outside the string.
Yep.
You need the or operating.
Yep.
And I also think you need to do double bar because
yeah, I
otherwise
see
it's a
it.
pipe operation. And Bachelor should evaluate it as that. I don't know that.
It could be. Who knows?
Oh, just doing a single pipe? Single pipe, okay.
Oops, I lost.
But yeah, you're right. The whole
string.
outside the string.
Yeah, it needs to be outside.
So
Well, let's
Comes
ask
here.
Copilot first.
we'll see. It's not complaining about this because this is a valid. This is invalid
It's a logic.
semantics.
One
Yeah.
Saturday, 5%.
Yeah, but this is. Will that work?
It
Looks
should.
like that'll work. So
Theoretically.
Fingers
you have to
crossed.
go out,
And
come back in. Case statement. There you go. That's it.
Crazy. Also, I don't know why, but why is there or just a single pipe? For
It's-
me, it's always been like
Double pipe?
double
Bash
pipe.
is weird, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
It's not the end of the
specific
world.
to the case statement.
A single pipe can mean a lot of things. Typically, it can mean like bitwise operation. It can mean file redirection. It could mean
Well,
this.
the thing with the case statement to me, I can handle them having a single pipe, but why the double semicolon?
Yeah.
I think it's like the equivalent of break in most
Yeah,
languages.
but it's like I don't know any place else in Bash where I have
Why
to
don't you
use
just
two
type out
semicolons.
break? There's an idea.
Yeah, this is
Like
probably older
Python.
than that.
Java, I don't know, like every language I can think of. Like
Python,
types
you
out
don't need a
break.
break in match statements. You don't
Well,
break out
well,
those.
like
Well, everything's
well,
indentation.
well, specifically,
Yeah.
like I think. Well, like I'm going like if you want to forcefully exit a loop, anything, it's always been
Yeah, break.
been break. Why do you
Okay.
do a double semicolon?
Let's
Oh.
ask the internet.
Let's I want to show you something else. So I said, how can you test this? If it was during the week, how would you be able to test this? Right.
We have
And
72.
I built something for that. What was it? I think I built a mock date function. Oh, did I not? Yeah, Fruit Loop. It's a loop that fruits.
Ooh, I want Fruit Loops. Oh, I want Fruit Loops so badly.
Flabby,
We got
there.
it. Oh, okay, sweet. I think that might got it.
Oh wait, maybe this is the buggy version. Maybe it's in the. Not here either. Maybe I just added a parameter.
Pass in parameter
Yeah.
function.
I lost it. It's gone. If iffy for while
Okay,
case.
according to
Here we
the
go. Yeah.
keyboard wizards at Stack Overflow, the double semicolon indicates a new line break.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, you can, I think, theoretically do the exact same thing with a double ampersand. Or just a single ampersand.
Well, a double ampersands are so much worse though.
Yeah, that's weird. That would.
Bash is just weird though.
Semicolons are
So-
at least like widely used in the programming community. Also, it's like it's super easy. Like you press the key once and it works. Like ampersand, you have to hold shift and then move up to 7. Rather than to, I don't know. That's super strange.
Okay.
Yes.
Using those shift keys, it'll kill you. But
Well,
So-
it's the difference in between just semicolon, press a once and it's done, and then shift 7.
so for debugging this, for search history, I did it a different way. I actually mocked out the history function.
I wrote
but-
this program in C.
But I for this one I made an optional first parameter.
Same question.
Made an optional first parameter. If you pass it in, we're going to use that as your date. And otherwise we're going to grab we're going to grab the date from the current date. So this syntax, this is from the parameter expansion section of Bash's man page. And they're all weird, okay? But this one says it's basically $1. That's the first part you need to recognize. The variable name is 1. So I'm taking the first parameter. The colon minus sign means I'm going to have a default value for $1. So the thing won't blow up if it doesn't have one. Like if I try to take $1, it's not there. I'm not sure what happens. But what comes after the minus sign would be a default. So I could say, I could have a default of 2001-09-11 since that's today's default date.
Yeah.
Is that the right year? I think it is. But I chose to say no default date, nothing. And so if there's nothing there, this is the test for no string, right? Nothing. Actually, this is the Z is for nothing, N is for not nothing. So
It's like it's at least
it's a
something
non-zero
non-zero value.
non-zero length.
So it's the equivalent of just passing it into an if statement.
Yeah. So if this is a non-zero length thing, then we're going to use it. We're going to pass it to date, saying this is the date, and then we'll get its day of the week. Otherwise, we'll just take today. I could have grabbed today's date, but then I would have and used it, but then I would have had called date twice. And not sure this is the best way to do it, but it works. And then I go ahead. I actually unquoted these. That might not be the best way to do that, but for single words, it works. And so that's how I did testing it. I don't know if I actually called it down here with multiple values or not, but that's how I built a test rig for it, because the requirements were you have to be able to do it in a way that won't muck around with everybody else's copy of date. That would be bad. So yeah, I think we're pretty much real close to the last one here. Weekday. So the last one is search history. And this one is a different script. Here we go. Seems like this one's been on our radar too long, so we'll kill it off here. So the idea was, can we rip through our history command output and find commands that have certain strings in them, and just for fun, can we strip the line number off and just leave the command? Right. History has ways to recall commands, but sometimes the history command scares me, because if you recall command 1084, it just runs it. I don't really like that. There are things you can do to display it instead of running it, and there are weird things you can do with history, like if you just ran a command and there's a typo in it, you can, like, suppose you said, you entered the phrase, maybe I can remember to show this. Maybe you, oh, seven, there we go. Maybe you said, LS, here, what are my file names again? Maybe you said LS glow star, and you meant flow, right? I think that's how you do it. You can say, go find glow in my previous command and replace it with flow. Do I need another one of these? And it'll make the change for you and run it. It's the and run it thing that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why I use that VI style search, and it'll pull it up, and then I can edit it. This just scares me.
Oh, here's something else crazy.
Yeah.
There is a program you can install that will fix that last command and run it.
History. ZSH.
No,
Fish.
just a single command. It automatically.
Oh, no, no. I don't trust that one either. Too much. Yeah, it's got a course name.
It does.
So, oh yeah. So we want to go see. And I left these in the folders where we started talking about them. So pretty sure this is the right one. Okay, search history. Now the way I've set up testing in here, if you actually test with your history, it's going to be very volatile, because every time you run, you're going to have the name of your script added to the history, and all the histories will go, everything will scroll on you. So what I did was, in this one, I actually did replace the history function locally, so that whenever I call history inside the script, it'll do this instead of what usually happens. And what it does is, I do something weird here that you can find on, find on the inner Googles. This returns the name of the directory, because of the dir name function. This is the thing. This is like $0. It's what got invoked to run this script. And this gets the directory name of the current script. And this is a text file that I saved in this directory. And that one is this. And all it is like 1,000 or something lines from my history file. I outputted history, 1,000 lines of history, captured it to a text file. Might have had to clean it up. I can't remember. I might have had to use some cleanup tool on it, because the format might have been weird. I can't remember. But basically, it's 1,000-ish lines of history. Now, because of this, my function will just use this over and over and over. So my tests will look the same, right? That's the point. I can't test with the live history because it keeps changing. So I did this instead. So search history bad. Let's not even talk about this one. This one just looks for the search term and everything after it. Somehow I think in when we were talking about it live, this was like, we were talking about it. We're like, well, if you assumed that your command name was the first thing on the command line, you could just take the command and everything after it. That get rid of the line number. But it's you would never search for that. You never think that the word you're looking for is necessarily the first thing on the line. So this one was good. I know we talked about this last time. This is how you would search for the 8th character on. And this might be the best solution. And let's go out and just start running this thing. Search history, yeah. And a lot of notes. So this is the bad one, right? And we're looking for the keyword name, and sometimes maybe some of these name is the first thing on the line. We got rid of the line numbers. One objective completed. If there was unit tests for this, we would have just passed one of them and probably nothing else. So I'm going to press enter. Now this one is the one where we strip off the first 7 lines, which are the line number and the space after it. And so this one would pass all of the unit tests. I went into my file and made some more obvious spacing so that the output of the next one will be more obviously different. Because this is the way it appears in the history file. I just manually edited the thing. Because sometimes there are lines that have lots of weird spacing, like when you see a for loop in here.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the one, all it's doing is taking off the first 7 characters, and it does that after it looks for our search term, which is in quotes because we don't want it like expanded into a bunch of file names or something. Then it uses cut, and it's saying it wants the characters starting at character 8 and going forever. That's 8 dash, right? Just going to the end of the line. So that's that one. And the only reason this feels, to be honest, I made a point of this, doesn't feel that fragile because the format of the history command changing would be a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably pretty safe, and it's really readable, and this is probably what an awful lot of people would do. But if somebody said, there's nothing semantic, the word semantic in programming, it's about what it means, right?
Yeah.
7 characters doesn't mean anything. They could move the text around and it wouldn't change the meaning of the output, but it would break my script.
Yeah.
So there's no semantic meaning to lopping off the first 7 characters. So the rest of these scripts try to do this semantically in a way that makes sense, take off the line number.
Yeah.
And in a way that still preserves this weird spacing. And in a way that's legible. That's the hard part. So the next one, watch the weird spacing because it's going to die. Okay. So this collapses all the spacing down to a single space. And
Gotcha.
What was hard to see, I should have pointed out ahead of time, but take my word for it, is everything on the left, the first characters moved over 1 space to the right.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see. And so what this one does, it uses awk, and it's actually not that hard to read, except that it's awk. And so you initially you should be terrified because it's awk. But just like a lot of places, $0 or argument 0, a lot of times when you pass it to a function, it's the whole line.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we've got $0, but then if you bust it down into individual components, like in a lot of other environments, $1 is the first argument, $2 is the second argument, and so on. So that holds here. So in my history file, $1 is the line number, right? And then $2 is the next word, and $3 and $4. That's all the other words. And so I say I want to set $1 to nothing. So I got rid of the line number, and then I just print $0, what's left of it.
True.
And but that's why I lose all the spacing, because that's just what awk does. And I can't do a lot about that without getting sincerely fancy in awk, which is something I try to avoid. So this works, but it loses the spacing. I don't think I care so much about the left shifting a little bit, because no matter how I did this, I'd probably still lop off those first spaces, and the other approach still was indented a little bit. So there's that. But now I had like 3 more attempts that use some kind of regex, and they all get it right. They all produce the same output that the lop off the first 7 characters did.
But it's a regex.
They're all regex. So
wow, holy regex.
And because regex, because said is said, you have to use these weird things that look like spaceships with letters as passengers. I just don't like this. So instead, though, let me show something simpler. Sed has these substitution commands. Let me start by I'm in my home folder. So what's here that I don't mind messing up? TypeScript has stuff in it. There we go. This is just a transcript of a, it's messy though. How about SQLite history? Well, that shouldn't be so bad. It's only 20 characters. How bad could it be? So it has this. This is my last. I'm trying to open a file. It turns out it wasn't a SQLite file, so this was the extent of it.
Oh,
But
okay.
in
You know what? It works.
in Vim, I'm gonna
Let's see.
say I want this command to run on all the lines. So I'm gonna, and this isn't how I normally do it, but I'm gonna say from lines 1 to 3, I want this to take place. And I'm gonna say I want to change all of the L's, because that's in line 1 and 2, they both have L. So substitute is the command S. Can I make that bigger? So S for substitute. I'm going to substitute every time I see an L, which conveniently just got highlighted. I'm going to change it to L.
Oh,
And when I do that and hit enter, that happens.
Should run it again.
ooh, do it.
Redo.
No, it's colon. You can go up in your history with the up.
Oh, okay.
Run it again.
It's only changing the first one because he doesn't have the global flag.
Okay, we'll do the global flag. I was ignoring the global flag because I wanted to focus on sed, but sed also has the global flag. So it's just doing the first L that it finds on each line because I don't have the little G at the end, which means do it every time you find it.
No.
And that does more.
There we go.
So,
Yes.
Mediate
Do it again.
substitution.
Yeah.
I want to see, so right now, our first line is,
Oh, wait, hold on. Math equation incoming. How many times would you have to run that before
only-
you reach, I don't know, like 1,000,000 characters?
That's a polynomial. I don't want to do that.
we got 2,450 substitutions that
That's
time,
polynomial.
which gets us out to 30,629 characters. You see what these ruffians are trying to get me to do.
That's
So
why you should
One
do it
game
again.
file.
we're gonna quit and respectfully throw those changes away.
There's a reason why you always sanitize your inputs from a user.
Exactly.
So this is the same, that's from a family of programs that use this S command for substitute. And they're the commands like sed, awk, vi. They're some of the older programs. And this caret means it's an assertion. This is only going to match starting at the beginning of the line. That's what the caret means. It's not matching anything. It just means if you find this away from the beginning of the line, it doesn't match. It has to start at the beginning of the line. And then it's saying this matches spaces, any white space, so tabs, spaces, whatever. And then remember in regex, I've told you you can put characters in it, or this is a character class space, any kind of space. And then optionally you can have a quantifier after your characters. So the asterisk is a quantifier, which means I can have that white space at the beginning of the line any number of times. Asterisk matches 0 matches, so I don't have to have space. It'll match a zillion matches. It'll match a zillion white spaces. It'll match 1 white space, doesn't matter. So the white space is optional and I can have a bunch of it if I need to. But digits, whoops. Yeah, I knew that I was doing that.
Control Z.
Oh, this is not it. Sorry. There we
There
go.
you
I tried to type undo. But then this character class digit is in our character set is going to match 0 through 9. And then the quantifier is different here. This is a plus. Plus is just like asterisk, except it's mandatory. I need at least 1 digit.
Oh,
And then I can have a zillion of them. That's okay.
And that's why you don't like sed, because it's not truly regex.
I don't know.
Well, it's like,
Well, that's,
you look at that line versus your line 96, right?
yeah. Well, line 96, I don't like either because it's not the regex I want to use.
Yeah.
but it's more
It's closer.
regex.
Mhm. So, so basically, so far we've got optionally any number of spaces, and then a requirement for any number of digits. And then this last part with the space and the asterisk, that's just like the first part that says optional any number of spaces. So I'm going to match at the beginning of the line, maybe some spaces, definitely some digits, and maybe some spaces. And I want the spaces because I don't want like I want to get rid of any leading spaces. And then this is something you can do with these substitute commands. I want to turn it into what? I want to turn it into nothing, right? So if I had a bunch of L's here, I'd turn it into a bunch of L's, but I don't want to do that. I want to turn it into nothing. Basically, this is how you use the substitute command to delete stuff. There's probably a D command for but yeah, this is how you, and I don't need the G for global because I'm saying this is only going to match at the beginning of the line, and I only want to get rid of digits at the beginning of the line. So there's no G here, which is why I wasn't going to show G, but it was fun to show G.
1 gigabyte file.
Exactly. So that's what this one does. It passes it to this SED, which is called a line editor. It operates on your file one line at a time. And for every line, it's going to look to see if there's digits at the front of the line, optionally surrounded by spaces. And if there are, it's going to match as big a thing as it can, as many spaces. Well, it'll find spaces at the beginning of the line, get all the digits it can, get all the spaces after that it can, and just get rid of them. And we'll just go through the others also. This one is in awk and gen sub. I think there's a different way to do this in awk. I had to go to a cheat sheet. I don't know awk functions unless I'm actively using awk, which has been my fate about 4 different times in my life. So the rest of the time I've had to use cheat sheet. And this one is masking a regex that basically, you know, when you don't want to explain it, it's probably not the most legible solution. But because you have to escape things inside, well, not so much. But this basically says they don't allow the what I want to say is backslash S. That means white space. And none of these solutions let me do that. So I have to do other things. In this case, this is another character class.
Wait, hold on. Why don't they let you backslash S?
Because that's only available in certain kinds. There's all these different flavors of regex, and these guys don't let me do that.
That's disgusting.
Isn't it? So inside of square brackets, that's another way to make a character class, like this spaceship space is for white space.
Spaceship space.
Here I'm just I looked at the file and I think they're all spaces, but I put in /T for tab. And so that if it's in a space or square brackets, you get to pick one of those. So like if it's square bracket, A, B, C, D, E in square bracket, that will match an A or a B or a C or a D or an E, only one of them.
Gotcha.
But after that, I put the little plus sign. Why did I put a plus sign that time? Yeah, but up here I put a star. This one of these should be the other one.
There should be a star there.
And then this, unless I must know that there's a space because this also works. But I'm going to change that to a star to make it like the others. And then this is the longhand way to say digits, but it's shorter than their way. But this is I have to have digits, and then this is kind of a white space thing. This should be a star. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe this will break it.
You need a space afterwards.
Pardon?
You need a space.
I do, don't I? But I said star up there, so I'm gonna whatever. I do need a space. You're right.
Yeah, we fine.
What I really want to say is a word break /B, but I can't do that.
Nothing.
But anyway, it's going to replace it with nothing. It's a function call. This is how many times to do it. I only want to do it once. Kind of the same thing down here. I tried to make a simpler awk. That's impossible. So they all do the same thing. At first, I thought I could live with this one. I think this one might be the easiest one to read out of all of those because of the verbose, but actually, I think this is the easiest one of the robust ones to read. And I think this one's going to be the easiest one to put into your company library and have everybody know how to read it. It's just if they ever change the output of history,
You're screwed.
you're screwed. But so is everybody else in the universe. I think they'll make
Yeah.
it backward compatible
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. Probably be
Yeah.
able to give it dash old history.
Don't break user space. Minus Torvalds.
Yeah. So that's what those guys do. And I guess we already saw all of them, so you know that it but I made some changes. You know that it looks right, but I made some changes. So let's see what I broke. Try this again. So this one's bad. This one is right. If you watch the left edge, it's all going to move one space to the right. It's my prediction.
Bam.
That would have been funny if it went to the left.
Yeah. And then I guess this next one should go back to the left because it should have the same output as the
Watching
previous
I'm
one.
watching it.
Yep.
Hey, there we go.
So that one didn't break. That one didn't
Also,
break.
The number of
That one didn't break.
Well, so one of the ones that when it moved back one space to the left, the amount of spaces in between do and echo increased.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Between which do and echo?
For F in asterisk dot text do.
Yeah.
And then the number of spaces in between do and echo increased.
But I think that's because they should be. This is the original one that gets
Yeah.
it right. So these
when it
guys and
moved
these
to the-
guys,
well, when it moved to the right, it went down.
they all
to
go
one
away.
space.
Yep, that's the one that uses off print 0,
Gotcha.
and it doesn't do that right. So when you go back to these other quote unquote robust ones,
Yeah.
it gets all the
we
output
go.
right. If I get rid of the second one
Hmm.
and the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th
Yeah,
ones,
yeah.
it would all look the same. So
Really line breaks.
no,
Not for that.
not the ones that, well, but if you do for X in 1, oh, that's not, yeah, that's fine. 1, 5, 2, echo color X, done. If you do that and you look at your history, it's like this.
Yeah.
So I think it gets rid of
It gets rid of all the line breaks.
yeah. So some of them I just went in there and plowed a bunch of spaces in because my live history had it, and that effect wasn't very obvious in my file because there weren't any nice big spaces. So I added some. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. 12, 13. That's pretty close. That's as close to 12 as we'll ever get. Friend. So we got the nice.
No, turn that off. I will break your laptop.
Oh,
It's no.
by repo. It's my father's new thing. I'm gonna need some. We're gonna get DMCA, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Was like, do you have this one?
I definitely don't have that.
Yeah, there you go. Bring the goods.
It's like the guy that you.
Yeah. And then triple line is something that I can't say.
Yes.
The outlet.
No, they just start to do
Automatically. It's a. like in the top 20 guitar instruments,
means
sometimes
something wrong and bad,
when
and then means something
Well,
even
now-
wronger and even bad.
Now I want to know.
Or I tried to do this, but I'm only gonna play 10 seconds, so I thought that would be okay. And so, but I can say the chords for you. Signature song, it's not a word of kindness, no, it doesn't. Yeah, they even sued a hotel in California, called itself the Hotel California. Because it's on a desert road, it's got one of the, like, I was in Spain, like, basically, you're going home to the, like, final on their years, an RPG, but you're.
Yeah.
They're illegal thing, they're running around like,
hey, we need more people to sue.
So the game basically sometimes you wake up and you're clearing side of town.
You know, I should release
You speak with your party members, staff till the end of the night, and then go into the.
they probably had.
In the first room, basically, Paladin says, wait, I remember this.
As long as I still have the track.
Like.
I don't have, what's the one you mentioned earlier?
So
The,
you check. for
the,
trust.
you're joking, hey, you could run
There's nothing.
on the x86 phones,
Yeah, to be.
the studio,
and
like
you get crossed
mixing.
by a rock. You have that feel tug on your stomach.
I always forget
and
the
you
name
wake
of it.
up, and it
Like I
clears.
use this thing called
Outside of town.
Filmora,
Oh, did you?
DaVinci Resolve.
You're stuck in a pipe.
Oh. Wonder, oh wait, what's?
I love it.
Because I've been using this Filmora thing, so I started to use it and I was gonna
Um,
Division